Sicario 3 is on the way with Benicio del Toro, according to producers. Sicario was a masterpiece. If you've seen the film, you know there are scenes you'll never forget. Yes, we're talking about the border crossing scene. At almost once-in-a-lifetime coming together of talents, the film was scripted by Taylor Sheridan, currently best known as the brains behind the Yellowstone universe, and directed by Denis Villeneuve, perhaps considered the finest up-and-coming megadirector in Hollywood. Within its gripping narrative, it showcased career-defining performances from Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and Benicio del Toro. Blunt took on the role of an FBI agent enlisted by a CIA operative, portrayed by Brolin, to aid in the takedown of the ruthless leader of a drug empire. However, it was the enigmatic Alejandro Gillick who stood out, a former Mexican prosecutor turned CIA-trained assassin, driven by the tragic murder of his family at the hands of the cartel's kingpin. This Oscar-nominated film left an indelible mark on the cinema, thanks to its stellar cast and the talents of its masterful creators. Brolin and Del Toro, the dynamic duo, joined forces once again in the sequel directed by Stefano Sollima, titled Sicario Day of the Soldado in 2018. This installment delved deeper into the drug war along the US-Mexico border. Speculation about a third film in the series has been circulating ever since the release of Day of the Soldado, but now it seems that hopes have come to fruition if the production team behind the films is to be believed. Josh Brolin recently shared an update on the much-anticipated Sicario 3 Capos, though it seems things are still up in the air. According to Brolin, progress is moving closer, but he didn't have much good news beyond that. He also confirmed that director Chris McQuarrie is no longer attached to the project, and as for Taylor Sheridan's involvement, Brolin admitted he wasn't sure where things stand. It looks like fans will have to wait a bit longer for solid updates. Here's what Brolin said: We're closer. Yes. Molly Smith, who is a really good friend, who is one of the producers of that on Black Label, I said something. I said, it's never gonna happen, and it kind of went everywhere. And she was very reactive, which I appreciated. I appreciate reaction. They're very much focused on wanting it to happen, but we won't let it happen until there's a story interesting enough to want to spend that kind of money on it. Chris was involved for a while, but he's not now, and I don't know about Sheridan. I know him really well, but I don't know if he's on board or not. Beside this, The Messenger reports that, having spoken with producers Basil Uwanek and Erica Lee, production of a third Sicario installment is very much in development. When asked by the outlet if Sicario 3 was coming, surprisingly, both producers were extremely open about its prospects. Oh yeah, Uwanek was reported as saying, while Lee added that they were delighted with the idea, but the WGA strike meant writing was currently halted. When we can continue writing it, it was pencils down, but the idea is awesome, she said. For Uwanek, the prospect of seeing Del Toro reprise such an iconic and morally ambiguous role is a big factor in getting the band back together, so to speak. He said, I can't wait for Sicario 3. I could watch Benicio play that guy forever. I mean, I can watch Benicio in anything, but with that character, it doesn't get old. Exactly, he's spot on, and there's a cool idea being tossed around to make Alejandro exciting again in Sicario 3. The movie should flip the script and turn Benicio del Toro's Alejandro into the hunted. Fans are curious about where a third film could take his character, a hitman with a vendetta against the Carlos Reyes cartel in Mexico. In Day of the Soldado, things didn't go his way with the CIA betraying him and leaving him for dead, but that twist opens up an awesome opportunity for the third movie to make him the one being hunted while bringing back a key character. In Day of the Soldado, Alejandro teamed up with Matt and the CIA again to stir up conflict between the cartels by kidnapping young Isabel. The plan was to ignite a war, which would bring Alejandro closer to her father, Carlos, the Matamoros boss who ordered the hit on his family, in Denis Villeneuve's first movie. The Americans had their own agenda, too. It was all about controlling the border war and eliminating Mexicans they believed were helping terrorists get into the U.S. But when it turned out the terrorists were actually domestic, Matt was ordered to shut the operation down and kill Isabel, since she had seen them coldly killing Mexicans. This also meant cutting ties with Alejandro, ruining their partnership. Things got worse when Coyotes, trying to gain favor with Carlos' cartel, went after Alejandro and took him out. Somehow, he survived and even tracked down Miguel, the boy who shot him. Day of the Soldado ended with Alejandro preparing Miguel to be his apprentice, but a third movie would work better if Alejandro became the hunted instead of the hunter. If the CIA discovers Alejandro is still alive, they could bring back Emily Blunt's Kate to take him out, claiming it's to fix Matt's mistakes. To up the stakes, Matt could be working under Kate this time, tasked with ensuring Alejandro is eliminated since he's now a liability who could spark a political conflict. This twist would create intense drama, especially given Matt and Alejandro's history, while making Alejandro and Miguel's mission to take down Carlos' cartel complex. This two-sided war would be the ultimate challenge for Alejandro. Kate, still holding a grudge against him for forcing her to break her moral code, would have even more reason to go after him, all while protecting America's homeland security. It'd also give Alejandro a new kind of battle to face and push Miguel into a trial by fire, proving if he's ready to take over as Alejandro's successor. This kind of showdown would bring fresh tension to the franchise, reigniting the drama and struggles in its tangled relationships. With the CIA's resources, Alejandro would be forced to step up against an old foe, and honestly, watching him hunted by the same people who once used him would feel like poetic, if brutal, karma, perfectly in line with this revenge-driven series. For the third movie, I'd really like to see Emily Blunt back, and here's why. Sicario was centered around her character, Kate, an idealistic agent roped into a government task force dealing with the US-Mexico drug war. While the second film kept the focus on the border drug war, what made the original special was how it told the story through Kate's eyes. With Sicario 3 in the works, there's still time to bring Blunt back into the mix. We don't know much about the sequel yet, no trailer or solid details have been released, but Emily Blunt returning would definitely make it stand out. When Day of the Soldado came out, we were all disappointed to find out Emily Blunt wasn't part of the cast. It meant we didn't get to see how her character Kate might have grown. Screenwriter Taylor Sheridan explained in an interview with The Wrap that he left Kate out because he felt her story arc was complete and her presence didn't fit the plot. Still, he admitted Kate's story wasn't entirely finished, leaving the door open for her to possibly return in Sicario 3. Day of the Soldado wrapped up with a dramatic ending, showing Alejandro surviving a gunshot from a young gang member, played by Elijah Rodriguez. The movie jumps ahead years later, with Alejandro recovering and recruiting Miguel, setting up the next chapter. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies. We'll see you next time.